up, strugglers? Welcome to my trading recap number 3. And today I'll be doing a recap of Thursday's trade. Yeah. And so, yeah, let's get to it. So, Thursday I was actually looking at GU. And so, this was the price session that I had. And so, I was basically looking at this 4-hour fair value gap. We were trading into it, and I could see that we were making a sweep of liquidity right here. And so my target basically in the morning session, I was basically just targeting this 4-hour fair value gap. And to go there, I saw that we had a 1-hour fair value gap right here. And basically we traded into it and we were actually respecting it. And so I was targeting this pool of liquidity right here. And basically I was actually looking at the 5-minute right here, and I was looking at this pressure right here. I could see that this 5-minute was being respected, this fair value gap right here, and we actually pushed higher from there. And so then my point of interest was this fair value gap right here, and so I was just waiting for price to tap into this fair value gap. As soon as we tapped in it, I went to the 1-minute and basically took an entry right here on this inverse fair value gap. You can see it right here, this inverse fair value gap here. And so yeah, this is where it got really tricky. So basically we went into deep drawdown and then went up, and just price was consolidating for multiple minutes. And basically I wanted to hold it, but at that moment of time, I was actually looking at the dollar to correlate it. And basically I wanted lower prices so GU could go higher. And we were kind of respecting this fair value gap at some point. And so we respected this 5-minute bullish fair value gap. And with this wick, we were going really up. And when we were here, at that moment in time, I just told myself that we were basically respecting this bullish fair value gap, and that GU might be going down because we were really consolidating. And so once price came right here, so we went up and then just disrespected this bullish 1-minute fair value gap. And so at that moment of time, I think we went right here and I closed the trade on, I think, a 0.2% loss or 0.3% loss, and price ended up going to my TP, which really sucked, but that's okay. And I'm kind of glad that I was able to cut my loss short, even though we actually went higher. When I was looking at the charts, like, I had all the indication that we were just basically going lower, and honestly I should have just close the chart, set an alert, and just not look at the chart. I was just over analyzing everything. I should have just accepted the risk that I was putting on in this trade, because we ended up going higher. We were just consolidating. I just didn't like how price wasn't clean at that moment of time, and like I said, because of the dollar potentially going higher of this 5-minute bullish fair value gap, we did end up going lower on the dollar and G went higher. So my bias was right. I just really poorly managed the trade, but I was still able to cut my loss short, and I didn't close it like below here. But yeah, I just had to go on from there and learn from my mistake to just accept the risk that I'm putting on a trade and just let it go. I was actually looking into gold. Gold was really interesting throughout the whole week. We could see, like, on the higher time frame aspect, we were really respecting this monthly fair value gap right here. And if we go on the daily, we had some really nice order flow with these fair value gaps holding, going higher, this fair value gap holding, going higher, and we had this fair value gap right here. Now, I'm going to be honest, this is a really embarrassing recap for this trade because I just disrespected my plan. And what I mean by that is that, so I was basically bullish for the day because of this fair value gap. However, so I was just waiting for price to retrace in the daily fair value gap and go higher from there. However, that day I was just in front of my desk. I think I had an online class. I was just over analyzing everything, right? And so price was going down, right? We tapped into the the daily fair value gap right here, right here. However, the mistake that I made was that I was looking at the 1 hour instead of just sticking to the daily time frame with my original bias. And so yes, we tapped into the 1 hour fair value gap right here, but we failed to go higher right there. And so when I saw that, I was a little bit suspicious because we tapped into the daily bullish fair value gap. We tried to go higher but failed and actually formed a bearish 1 hour fair value gap. So at that moment of time, when I saw that, I was like, okay, we are not going higher from the bullish daily fair value gap. What does that mean? That means that we could potentially target lower on short term and on long term go higher again. So I was basically targeting this order block right here, and to go there I was looking to short from this 1 hour fair value gap. And so once we tap into this bearish 1 hour fair value gap, I was looking for my entry again. This is embarrassing for me to show because it's just not my plan. My plan is to just stick to my original higher time frame bias, and I was not doing that right now. Even though we failed to trade from the bullish daily fair value gap at that moment of time, I should have just waited, set an alert here, and take a buy when that alert was set. However, I did that mistake. I'm just gonna own it and show you the trade that I actually made. So basically, once we were in this 1 hour fair value gap, I wanted to take a short, but not short to the downside, just a short-term short. And so once we disrespected this bullish 5-minute fair value gap right there, I took a short right here of the inverse fair value gap with the high right here and my take profit in this order block basically, and we just hit my stop loss right there. And in the afternoon during Asia session, I was still looking at gold because, like I said, my original bias was to go higher from this fair value gap, and that short, just a stupid mistake on my part, and I have to own it and just take a lesson from it and just stop looking at the lower time frame. I had to stick with the bullish daily fair value gap. And so during the Asia session, Thursday night I think, I saw that my original entry that I wanted to take, which was a buy, was actually showing up. So basically I was just waiting for this bearish fair value gap to be disrespected so I could take a buy off the bullish fair value gap, and we were actually sweeping this low looking back at it. And so basically we were still respecting this bearish 1 hour fair value gap. So basically what I did is that I marked out this rejection and I was waiting for a fair value gap to go higher, basically like a 15-minute fair value gap, to just break this rejection so it could confirm me that we are really disrespecting this 1 hour bearish fair value gap. And so once I had that, I basically took a buy, not a short, right here, covering the low, this low right here, and I was just looking for a 1 to 2. Basically that would be my target, since it's the swing high on the daily, but on the higher time frame, on the monthly, I was targeting this high. And so I was basically just looking for a 1 to 2 right here. And yeah, price did end up going to my TP right here. However, I took this trade at work and I put the wrong lot size by accident. So basically, instead of putting 100k on the lot size calculator, because that's the funded account that I have, I put 10k, and so I risked 0.1% instead of 1%, and so I gained $200.
You tripping, bro? You tripping?
This really sucked. I was ready to punch my screen when I saw that. I'm not gonna lie, because I took this trade at work and I just saw my trade after work. I saw that they hit TP, and I went into MetaTrader and I saw that I was up $200 instead of 2K, and I just realized that I put in the wrong lot size. But oh my god, I was so mad honestly, but at least I was right for once. At least I was right. This is the trade that I need to be taking, not the lower time frame trades. Basically, that day I truly realized how I simply need to stick to the higher time frame. That trade on GU, although I think it was a good trade, if I have to be honest, it doesn't respect my plan. I need to stop trading on the 15 minute, the 5 minute, the 1 minute, and basically just stick on looking at my peers on the daily time frame and just have my bias on that time frame, set my alerts, and just move on with my day. And that's what I did when I actually passed my previous funded account. I was just looking at everything on the daily time frame. I was setting my alerts in the morning and I just went with my day. I just did what I had to do. I went to the gym, I went to the work. Once my alert was triggered, I took my entry, and that's it. Now my mistake is that I'm trading on the lower time frame, and I realize that I'm doing this because I keep over analyzing the charts. I basically just stay in front of my desk and over analyze everything, and I need to stop doing that. Like I said, I simply need to show up to the charts in the morning, analyze everything on the higher time frame, and just close my laptop, because every single time that I just overanalyze everything, I end up taking trades on the lower time frame. And I truly realize now that the lower time frame is just not made for me. On that GU trade that I showed in the beginning, if I have to be completely honest with myself, I was stressing so much. Like, my heart was beating so fast during that trade because I was in the 1 minute. Every single candle that was formed just stressed me out. I could hear my heart beating, because the thing is, what I like to do and what my plan consists of is to just trade on a higher time frame, because trading on the higher time frame, for me, I just feel so relaxed. I'm just a better loser when I trade on the higher time frame. And what I mean by that is that if I take a trade, for example, in the morning, a swing trade on the higher time frame, and basically I come back after, let's say, 4 hours, and I see that I lost the trade, I don't know how to explain it, but my brain just is able to just process it in a way where I just accept the loss, because I'm just not there to see the trade go to my stop loss, if that makes sense. But when I'm trading in the lower time frame and I use the 1 minute and I have to be in front of the screen watching every single candle form, because I have to manage the trade, right? If I'm trading in the 1 minute, well, if I take a loss, I'm just there, and it's just so hard to accept the loss, because I lost in a couple of seconds, minutes. I just want to go back in. It's just how I see it every single time, and it's hard for me to just trade on the lower time frame. Even though I lost, I'm still happy that I got to truly realize this that day, because it pissed me off a lot, if I have to be honest. But yeah, from now on, I'm just focusing on the higher time frame. I do not need the lower time frame. And so yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you on the next trading recap.